Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and in today's video, we'll be taking a look at the updates for patch 9.1.5, primarily what has to do with time walking. We've finally got more information on Legion time walking, as well as the testing of the time walking event. We have the vendors, and we get to test all the different rewards, the mount, the toys, the different transmogs that are available. The Nightborn S transmogs especially look good. We also have more information on the Mage Tower, which hopefully should be available in the next week. I cannot wait to actually dive into the tower and show you guys how it plays and how it runs, but I am so excited to actually be able to test it and be able to play with it live. We have a new bear form available from there, and a mount and mythic pluses are finally available for testing on PTR. But before that, most of you guys watching the videos aren't subscribed. What are you doing? Hit subscribe, hit the bell to get the videos regularly for 9.1.5. Anyway, let's dive into the video. Let's start off with the new rewards for the time walking dungeons. The time walking vendor can be found over in the Legion Dalaran or the Broken Shore Dalaran. And for your time walking currency, you can buy a variety of different things like a gorgeous hippogriff mount. You can also get a toy that makes you sound one of the Suramar guards looking for those illusions to dispel. Then there's a variety of really cool and unique looking transmog weapons, as well as shields, as well as other things. We're starting off our Nightborn weapons. We also got shields. We got two types, but the weapons look fantastic. We got the plain Nightborn swords. We got the massive double-edged glaive, which counts as a one-handed weapon. So if you're a Fear Warrior or Protection Warrior, you could really look like a Nightborn guard. We have a Nightborn themed staff, as well as a Nightborn themed mace, which is something the guards of Suramar wear and use regularly for combat. Then there's an Orgosian bow, something that one of the broken Draenei off of Argus might be using in order to snipe out the prey. And of course, the Aegis of Agramar. You would have used this weapon as an active ability during the second to last boss of Halls of Valor dungeon scenario, and I think it was one of the relics you had to collect from Legion during the Balance of Power quest. But it does look good if you really want like a Titanic Might on your hand. This thing looks fantastic. We also have cloth, leather, mail, and plate transmogs that you can buy for your character, and if you're a plate class, you can also buy a full set of head-to-toe armor of the Raven Crest, which are like those ghostly night elves over in Val'sharah. If you've ever done the dungeon for Blackrook Hold, think the final boss from there, the whole attire, and it does look really good. Besides that, the vendor is also full of other goodies, like there's a lot of little Legion crafting elements on there for Blood of Sargeras. Then there's also a lot of the reputation tokens as well, which are going to have a ton of value in Legion, because Legion was the first time where they added for all these different reps, Paragon boxes. It's when you max out a reputation to Exalted, and then you keep providing more rep to reach a bar for a Paragon box. Once you refill the bar, they give you a Paragon box, and inside of the box, there's a variety of different goodies, but the best ones are the mounts, the different faction mounts that you can get. Legion had a lot of them, one for every single faction, so if you missed out on those mounts during the time walking event, that'll be the perfect time in order to actually buy a bunch of reps if none of the other rewards really entice you. And honestly, listening over to my own recordings gushing about Legion, I mean, essentially you are getting all these time walking rewards that are not really all that different than the other expansions, but Legion was a very close expansion to me. It's an expansion I enjoyed tremendously. And with extra collectibles like different mounts that you can get for the different factions from Paragon boxes, all this gear that you never could get back in Legion. These are unique items that you could never obtain from back then. So there's a lot of fan service on these vendors, but it is pretty exciting fan service nonetheless. Then we got updates to the Mage Tower. Blizzard got a bit more outlines in terms of how the Mage Tower will work, what parts are coming back, and what the rewards are going to be. They had a full blue post, so let's discuss it in this video. Starting off with the actual fights. The Mage Tower is going to return in its full entirety from all 7 different encounters that you could face. These encounters are going to be split up as they were back in the day, so different classes, different specs had different boss encounters. Tanks all had the same fight. Healers, except for Disc Priest, had a separate fight. And the rest of the DPS with Disc Priest focused on some of the different class strengths like mobility, AoE, or CC. A lot of these fights are coming back as they were, so we're going to have all 7 fights available, and Blizzard mentioned that they'll find a way to normalize the players inside of these fights, so we don't really know what that means. One thing I can say is I am not really hopeful that they're going to make the fights as challenging as they were when they first were released. We're talking about scaling of content, which I'm pretty sure Blizzard wants to make it so it's more accessible to more people, one, but second, our classes are slightly different than how they used to play back then. We have these artifact weapons with different traits and legendaries, and while we still play with legendaries and some of those traits did come back as talents or passives for our specs, our specs are still a little bit different. We have conduits, we have covenant abilities, so I don't think it's going to be as difficult as it was on first release for many players, but should hopefully be still a bit of a challenge nonetheless. Blizzard is also putting the foot down on the rewards. They mentioned that the weapons from Back Legion, those are still going to stay unique, and those are not returning because they were exclusive to that moment in the expansion. So the artifact weapon appearances are not returning, but the tier 20 recolor sets, as we expected, are going to be part of the reward. However, there have been a couple extra tidbits in this blue post that surprised a lot of people, like the Guardian form. The Werebear form or the Gorilla Bear form, you might have seen players running around with it. It's a unique model, and I believe it's a unique skeleton that hasn't been reused in the game ever. That model, a recolor of it, is returning to the Mage Tower for Guardian Bear Druids. Gotta say, I like the way this thing looks. I'm a big fan of that Fel Legion, like, tattoos, demonic on the bear touch. Like, this was like what if Illidan went into bear form or something? If Illidan Stormrage was a druid instead of a demon hunter, this is what his bear form would have been. When the Mage Tower was up during Legion, I didn't really do too many of them for the tanks or healers. I eventually had a really hard time doing the healer ones, but I've been able to do every one for every single DPS pack on both the EU and NA account shared. So I think this time around I will definitely begin in the Guardian Bear one. But there's even one extra reward. If you have enough alts and you complete every one of the challenges available, you'll actually be able to get a mount. Blizzard announced that the mount that you'll be getting is the Soaring Spell Tome. In fact, this is actually one of the mounts during that one art contest they did for Shadowlands, where they allowed players to vote for which mount you want to be able to use as your character. Whichever players that wanted, the art team were going to design it and it was going to be distributed out to players for free. A bunch of different mounts were on our list. The Wandering Ancient, which ended up winning. The Spell Tome was one of them. Slime Kitty, there was a Caterpillar, there was a Nerubian mount, and players chose the tree. But the Spell Tome was one of those mounts that people voted for and always wondered how it would look. So it looks like they're repurposing the idea of that mount as a reward, a brand new reward for getting all the challenges done for this time walking. I'm a big fan of that, adding more unique, cool rewards into some of this content, giving it a different spin. I'm a fan of it. So this gets me super excited to gear all my alts, to get them up and running, and get them into the brand new Mage Tower, or at least this version of Mage Tower, to complete the challenges, to unlock every single one. And of course, I'm going to be going for the tier 20 transmogs anyway, so this is perfect. It's an extra incentive for you to be able to do this. Big fan of this change, cannot wait to test this out, hopefully next week on PTR. Lastly, Mythic Pluses are actually open for testing for Legion PTR time walking, and they actually work with the brand new affix and everything. And I think I'm gonna make a separate video. I want to play through these dungeons a little bit, see how the scaling is, test them out, so I can better explain the new affix and how it feels. But already it's overflowing with nostalgia, trying to remember how some of those dungeons ran, particularly for Mythic Plus, which mobs are deadly, which mobs are less deadly. That's all been very, very enjoyable to kind of, go back through and figure it out all over again. So I think there's going to be a separate video for it, but so far, first impressions, really, really good, super fun. And all those Mythic Plus dungeons are available for testing, even the random Q one if you want to try it out over on PTR. Everything is available right now. Hopefully we'll get the Mage Tower very, very soon. Thank you guys so much for checking out this update. Let me know what your thoughts are on the Legion time walking events so far and everything we discussed. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see all of you in the next one.